Hello, good afternoon, guys, and welcome back. So, I have to do this video because I'm still getting comments on my previous video that I made on why Dr. Umar Johnson got so many haters. Why is he under attack so much? It's like people don't seem to get it. This man is on a mission, and I respect what he's doing 100%. And I call him America's most controversial psychologist because he is. Just based on the things he talks about in his lectures, in his online lectures and face to face, this man is second to none. You're not going to see no other psychologist in America that goes in on these socio-political topics the way Dr. Umar Johnson addresses it. Even when he had that debate between him and Tariq Nasheed, he even challenged Tariq Nasheed to a debate, more professional debate where they actually sat, across from each other and began to kind of discuss these issues since they have opposing viewpoints, on certain topics. And Tariq Nasheed didn't even want to rise to the occasion because Dr. Umar Johnson, he's very good with his words. Like, this man knows what he's talking about. He's well articulated. And for people to assume that he's not a psychologist, it's like, no, I don't believe you guys. Someone hasn't read a comment on my post to say, oh no, we're just trying to protect. That's what they said. It was like, we're not trolls. We're just trying to protect you guys from Dr. Umar Johnson. I'm like, no, I don't see Dr. Umar Johnson as a threat. I see you guys as a threat. The trolls are a bigger threat than Dr. Umar Johnson. Dr. Umar Johnson is only trying to educate us. He's only trying to... Okay, I had to switch spots because of the reception. But Dr. Umar Johnson is only trying to educate the black community. That's all. And y'all want to attack him. And I'm going to tell you why. Let me get to a good spot where there's good reception. But y'all are like really getting me with this whole, oh, he's not a doctor. Okay, I'm back. It's crazy when you start speaking the truth. Look what happens, you guys. That's what happens. People start speaking the truth. They didn't shut this man YouTube channel down. And it's upsetting, because he does have a following. He does have people that he's leading. He's leading out of, this darkness, right, into the light. And people want to hate. Give me a second, guys. I gotta find a better spot to finish this video. Because it just makes no sense. Like, you guys have nothing else better to do. It's not going to stop the mission. You guys actually think just because you troll on his videos, you make up lies saying he's not a doctor when he is? Like, you guys don't even have a clue that school psychologists are doctors, okay? For you guys to assume that he's not a doctor because he's not a medical doctor. You don't have to be a medical doctor to be a doctor, you guys. You can be a psychologist and be a doctor. My thing is this. Okay, I think I found a better place. This is actually where I started out at. I ended up switching my location. So let's see how this works. But I think it's so surprising that a lot of people don't believe that he's a doctor because, number one, he's African American. That goes to show how racist you guys are. To say that he's not a doctor, you're only saying that because, number one, he's black. Like I say, and that goes to show how racist you guys are. Black people and white people to assume that this man is not a doctor. Because he's black. And not only that, he's black, but he's sitting up here talking about stuff that tapers on the line of politics. I think that's the biggest issue. So you don't think that a doctor can be political. It's almost as if he's carrying two different identities. He's like more of a political leader, but he's also trained as a school psychologist. School psychologists are doctors. You guys say, oh no, he's not a doctor. He's just certified. He's certified to do assessments. So school psychologists are certified to do assessments, and not only that, but they also can diagnose. They are the one who diagnose children with these developmental disorders. And I think that's, if anything, I mean, yes, you have the broader field of clinical psychology. Clinical psychologists kind of look at a wide range of clinical issues in psychopathology in children and adults. School psychologist is more narrow. It's more of a narrow focus. So the focus is on children in schools, related to academics. That's why school psychologists are certified. It's a special type of credentials. It's a very narrow focus, very special type of credentials, but it's not to say that school psychologists can't treat families, because when you think of the child is a part of a family system. So it's very difficult to say, okay, we're just going to focus on the child. No, a lot of times school psychologists take a family systems approach and they work within the family system. So they treat not only the child, but they treat the child's parents, if the child's living with their grandparents or uncle or aunt. They treat the entire system, which basically opens up his scope of practice. And for you guys to be like, oh, he's not a doctor. I'm like, oh my gosh, give this man a break. He is just as much as a doctor as a clinical psychologist is a doctor, you guys. He just has his certification, his credentials that he has is more specific, yes, to the school systems, but doesn't mean he can't practice outside of the schools. Because you have children that are not part of the public school system, meaning they get homeschooled or they attend alternative schools, private schools. A lot of parents don't want their kids being assessed by a publicly funded school psychologist, meaning a school psychologist who's hired by the school systems, because they know that there's bias within the school system. The school system has an agenda, right? Have a certain kind of agenda that they want to meet. And you have parents specifically, who prefer to work outside of that system. So they hire a private school psychologist, who can do a private assessment on their child. You have parents that will go and get an assessment, get their child evaluated by a school psychologist, who's hired by public schools, and then they go and get a second opinion from a private school psychologist. And to my understanding, Dr. Umar Johnson initially was practicing, within the school systems. He was working for Pennsylvania school systems, but then he stepped away from that and he went into private practice, which is perfectly fine under his certification. Now, you guys have this thing about, oh, is he certified? Is he licensed? Depending on the role, right? A person can be licensed, like clinical psychologists are licensed, or they can be certified. It's just a different jurisdiction, but it's still the same thing. It gives them the same right, authority to be able to assess, diagnose, and treat, you guys. It really gets to me, because even you can look at some of the way you guys, like the trolls and things that they say, and you can tell they have no clue what they're talking about. They're like, oh, he can't practice. He's not able to practice. It's like, you guys don't even do your research. Certified school psychologists are able to do assessments. They're able to diagnose, and they're able to treat. They treat mental illness. That's what a doctor does. Doctors treat mental illness, you guys. So for you guys to say he's not a doctor, not only that, but he actually has a doctorate degree in clinical psychology. So while he's not necessarily licensed as a clinical psychologist, he's certified as a school psychologist, which is just the same. It just specifies what type of psychology is his specialty. And it's within the schools, which I think is really important. We need more school psychology. We need psychologists all over. They have industrial psychologists that work with corporations. You have clinical psychologists where you mainly see them in clinical practice. You go to these local clinics in your area or hospitals. Clinical psychologists usually work there. And then you have school psychologists who work in school settings and even in private settings just such as Dr. Umar Johnson. And it gets me that you guys just don't have a clue. Like, you just don't get it. You don't even understand the terminology. You don't even understand how the credentialing works within our profession. You just go assuming shit. And then I think mainly because of his controversial views, this man is very different in the way he sees things, and he doesn't hold back, his opinions when it comes to certain political issues. He's very open, and that's the reason why I respect him, because it's like, I think the struggle that a lot of black professionals, in America face is, okay, am I black first? Am I a doctor first? Like, which one should take higher precedence? Which identity do you uphold? And I think for Dr. Umar Johnson, he recognizes that he is black first. So his dedication and commitment is to the black community. Being a school psychologist comes second to him being an African American leader fighting for his people. That's the biggest issue that you guys have against Dr. Umar Johnson. But the man is brilliant, y'all. The man is brilliant. When I first saw him on the Hidden Colors series that Tariq Nasheed produced several years ago, he stood out on that documentary. This man was dropping some jewels. Like, he's so sharp. And then I began to do more research on him, and I learned that, he actually has military training. So it's like, no wonder he has a certain kind of perspective and viewpoint. Most of us was not raised in the military household with military training. So you don't see things through that kind of lens, but he sees things through a more militaristic lens, more of a political lens, which does get a little bit tricky, and touchy when it comes to working within the health profession. But you guys have to understand where he comes from. Like, he is a very strategic, smart intellectual, and you're not gonna find another black psychologist like that. I haven't seen one in America like Dr. Umar Johnson, who is as vocal as he is. And I think this is what it is. This is the biggest issue that you guys have. You know who Dr. Umar Johnson reminds me of? He is like the Harriet Tubman of today. That's what he is. You know how Harriet Tubman, she was a runaway slave, and she actually took a lot of other slaves with her to freedom? He is that person. Symbolically, he represents Harriet Tubman from a psychological point. He's trying to basically psychologically free African Americans from this bondage that we have been held under, that we keep ourselves under, that we have been conditioned to be, and not only that, but we keep our own selves in that psychological cage. He's just trying to free, which he's already done. He's touched my life. He's touched so many people's lives. I mean, he would not be the brand that he is today if he did not touch as many lives as he has. He's touched a lot of lives. I think the thing is that the issue here is that the trolls, the haters, sometimes get a little bit more recognition than the people who are actually benefiting from him. So all people see is the negative comments, and don't really see like the positive, outcome of what Dr. Umar Johnson has contributed to the African American community. But he's done a lot, you guys. That's why I feel like I'm moved and motivated to speak on the positive aspects of Dr. Umar Johnson, because he's touched my life in so many ways. His theories that he espouses has motivated my research. I've cited him in several of my papers that I've written, when it comes to the overrepresentation of African American male students, in special education classes. I wrote a paper on that, and I've cited him in several of my papers. You guys can find that out on my website at dreampathways.org and behappy.org. Not only that, but definitely he's inspiring my dissertation. Like, he's going to be cited throughout my dissertation because he is a scholar. He's done his research. He has many years in the field, and I just feel like just a small select few of you guys don't want to give the man his, his due props, his credit. But he don't need, I feel like at this point, he's achieved so much. He doesn't need your approval. He don't need the haters' approval. As a matter of fact, it's good that he is so firm in what he stands on and what he believes. And he's put it out there, because I wouldn't say it's creating division. We're already divided as a people and as a country, but it basically reveals the true snakes. You know, the people that were once so called, oh, I was a Umar follower, but then some hater want to drop some salt in the game and make up rumors and lies against him. And so now you have like a group, a handful of people who once so-called were followers, but now all of a sudden they hate Dr. Umar Johnson. They oppose him. They're out to, I guess, put salt on his name, you know, put salt in the game, try to pull him down, try to discredit him. But I don't think it's working. And to be quite honest with you guys, I think you guys are empowering the movement. I can see it. Because if anything, like I said, I was initially exposed to Dr. Umar Johnson. This was back in 2014 when I first moved to New York and I met my ex. And, you know, on our first date, we actually watched the Hidden Colors series. And I was listening to Dr. Umar Johnson. I was just like, wow, this man is speaking the truth. You know, you feel something. When truth is being spoken, you feel something inside you. It moves something inside. There's a connect. There's a spiritual connection that happens. And that's what happened with me. And I was like, he's speaking the truth, you know. And I began to follow him, you know, on social media, on Facebook, you know, YouTube, looking at his videos. And I was like, he is the truth. And then seeing how many people are opposing him and trying to attack him and discredit him, y'all know what? That actually made my interest in him grow even stronger and deeper. Because I'm like, it has to be, he's a very special person. That's how I look at it. I gotta come out of this because, woo. Y'all, it's out here, I'm out here in California and it is hot. Temperature is rising. Early today started out like at I think it was like 70 degrees and now I'm pretty sure it's like in the 80s. But what was I saying? My love for him has grown deeper and stronger, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys can agree that the more you see like the hate, and then you got, you know, YouTube disabling his channel, like that is making me really have a deeper passion for Dr. Umar Johnson. You know, I'm not a Christian, but it's almost like compared with Jesus Christ, how this man went through so much that just made his followers love him even more and want to stand by and fight for the cause even more. Because when you, like, it's like when you're under attack and when you're under pressure, like pressure breeds diamonds. You get what I'm saying? Like there's something beautiful about when you're under attack by people. It means that you're doing something positive. You're doing something major. People don't attack somebody that is small, that ain't doing nothing. I said this before, how some people say, oh, well, I have a nonprofit organization and I'm doing things for the black community and nobody's attacking me because I'm just an upstanding person. I'm not a fraud. And I say, no, people don't give a fuck about what you're doing because you ain't doing nothing big enough. Dr. Umar Johnson, his work obviously has had such a major influence and impact on the African American community that, yes, they trying to stop that, y'all. That's what it is. And it's only giving the movement more momentum. Because what you see, like I made a post on, I shared this on my Facebook page, how basically Dr. Umar Johnson's lectures, his knowledge, his wisdom that he's poured out and given to us graciously, the many hours that he spends doing live videos and just sitting around talking to us, trying to educate us for free. A lot of it, he does it for free. He could be doing something else, but he takes time out of his day to just pour out what he knows. That's priceless, you guys. And it's birthed, like I said, it's birthed a whole new generation of leaders, of change makers. That's what he's doing. He's waking people up. There's nothing more beautiful than a person who can wake us up. You know, y'all go to church for enlightenment, for support, right? For encouragement. But I feel like the church is lacking something. Because the church ain't going to tell you the 100% truth. They're not going to tell you how we can overcome racism. You know, they want to talk about, oh, the devil, as if he's some like if he's some literal creature that you can just go and attack. No, the devil is symbolic. We have to know who our real enemy is. The church ain't gonna tell you. They're not gonna speak to the real enemy. They're not gonna talk about this system of white supremacy and racism as the devil. They ain't gonna speak on that. Dr. Umar Johnson does. You know, with the whole separation between church and state, and the fact that churches are considered non-profit organizations, they might as well be partners with the state. They're not going to speak against the status quo. They're not going to speak against the system. Why? Because the system is helping them out. They get the church gets tax breaks basically from the system. So no, they ain't going to speak out. That's why we have people like Dr. Umar Johnson, and I respect him so much because he is taking a huge risk. For somebody who went to school all these many years, did all of this training that he's done, and like he knows that he's kind of putting his credentials on the line. You know, they're at risk, right? Because there's a certain code of ethics, and it boils down to just basically trying to appease white supremacy, appease the dominant structure within following those so-called standard code of ethics that most professions have. So to talk about things like how he says he's opposed to gay marriage, he's opposed to interracial marriage. The most code of ethics in most professions don't want to hear that shit. You know, especially with the direction we're moving towards now. In most professions, they're like, you know, everybody is equal, and they're actually, I think, doing more to promote homosexuality. And there's nothing wrong with a person saying, you know what, I take this approach. He's just saying he's a different approach, and I'm gonna have to wrap this video up because my phone is about to die. But he's just saying he take a different approach. He sees things differently, and it's not to try to put down homosexuals. He has nothing against homosexuals. This is the thing. It's like, to be pro-heterosexual, it's almost as if the homosexual community got a problem with you. You know, the fact that he wants his school, the FDMG, I keep saying FDMG Academy, the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. That's a lot to kind of say, right? But the fact that he wants his school to be pro-heterosexual doesn't mean that he hates gays. You know, he's just pro-heterosexual. That's like to be pro-black. It's almost like because a person say they pro-black, they all about, you know, the black community and trying to fight for the black community, then people who are not black, they feel some kind of way, like, oh, they don't like me. It's like, come on, can a person be pro something and not necessarily anti the opposite? I'm like, y'all need to get off Dr. Umar Johnson, man. This man, he know what he doing. I just feel like we need a defense system. We need a system in place that can protect our leaders who are willing to sacrifice their lives for us. You know, we need a system on all fronts. You know, a military. We need something online where we have people going to make these false reports to YouTube. We need an internal defense system that can go and combat these people who are making false reports against Dr. Umar Johnson. We need our own platform, our own app, like Dr. Umar Johnson, his own app where he could connect with his followers so that people are not trying to infiltrate the system and distract people, because a lot of times those trolls are just trying to be distractions. That's all it is. That's all. They see that this man said he want to build a school, and I'm just like, imagine when he was talking about the way he wants his school organized and set up. I'm like, I keep getting freaking notifications. I'm like, oh my gosh, way to go, Dr. Umar Johnson. Like, that school is going to come to fruition. I see it. Wait, I'm trying to get into the lights so you guys see. I see that school is really going to make a difference. It's already out there in the universe. Dr. Umar Johnson don't need y'all approval. He don't even need the approval of the state to open that kind of school. He don't need nobody's approval. This man has everything he needs inside his head, inside his body, inside his spirit to bring that school about. He don't need the haters' support. We don't need y'all. We don't need y'all support. Don't need y'all approval. The school is gonna come. I believe it. I feel it in my spirit that school is gonna come about. Y'all keep saying, "Oh, where the school? Where the school?" Don't worry about where the school. It's coming. It's coming. And when it opens up, what y'all gonna say then? Oh, about time. By the time the school open up, it's like it takes time to build an institution. So just leave that man alone, man. And I can be telling everybody who comment on my post, you comment on my post with negativity, your ass gonna get blocked and deleted. I don't care. I don't want to hear that negative stuff. I heard enough of it about, oh, he's not licensed, he's not this, he's not that. He never claimed to be a so-called licensed psychologist. And the whole difference in nomenclature is just within the profession. That's just, like I said, it's been a lot of splits within our profession, even within